afternoon, everybody. Thank you for that introduction, James. My name is Jordan Forssman. I'm originally from South Africa, but I've been in Taiwan for coming up on 17 years now. But today's presentation I was still giving in English. Just to go over again, I joined a startup here in Taiwan in 2006, a small company called Armorize Technologies, I think I was the 10th employee. We were a small cybersecurity startup focused on trying to resolve how to make software invulnerable to attack. One of our founders, Wayne Wong, had been working here locally in Taiwan with the Department of Defense and had come up with a lot of very interesting technologies through his experiences trying to defend against attacks coming from China. So we started the company in 2006 and eventually got a lot of customers all over the world. I joined as a sales and ended up developing strategies to enter in markets from Japan, South Korea, India, Southeast Asia, Europe, and eventually the US, where we ended up being the most successful. We ended up having customers like Amazon using our technology, most of the Hollywood movie studios, some of the US big banks. So we're very different to what Colin has just described being more of a B2C business. We were a B2B business, very much focused on enterprise sales, trying to get our message out there. So my experience is I would say, quite different. And what I want to talk to today is go-to-market strategy components. And my perspective is more on the sort of enterprise sales B2B side of things. My original topic that they gave me was, I think, essential go-to-market strategy components for business development success. I thought that was a bit long, so I just shut it down. I'll cut it down. So I think lesson number one is just to keep it short. All right. So going forward, I wanted to start off just getting first things first. If you're an entrepreneur or any startup, here are two great quotes from a very well-known sales guru by the name of Zig Ziglar. He's produced many books and talks around the world about doing sales. And two great quotes of his that I love are the first: "You will get all you want in life if you help other people get what they want." And unfortunately, so many startups actually forget this rule or this adage. They focus too much on their technology. They focus too much on their team. They focus too much on, what it is that they're doing instead of the people that they should be serving and that they're actually trying to help. So that's the first thing that you always got to keep in mind. Everything should start from the focus of what problem am I trying to solve? Who am I trying to help? What is it that I'm actually doing here? And the second quote is, lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days, and that's very true. We all have 24-hour days. We all have the limited resources and constraints that Jameson mentioned in his talk. We all have to work within that framework. And the thing that I think makes the difference, in addition to grit, is direction. Right? You have to know where you're going, and you have to know where you want to get. In order to chart a successful path to that destination. But again, that's got to stem from who are you trying to help? What are you trying to do, right? Who are you servicing in your day in and day out efforts? And I think if you have that locked down, it helps you survive a lot of the difficulties that Jameson mentioned. You will inevitably encounter huge challenges and situations where you just want to break down and cry. But if you know what you're doing, if you know why you're there, if you know who you're trying to help and the problems you're trying to solve, that focus will help you get through most problems you encounter. So with that in mind, once you know who it is you're trying to solve, once you know what problems you're trying to solve, you just, in terms of developing your business, you just need to do more of that. You need to focus on that and keep the focus on that, right? And now, how do we develop the business? There's really two areas that I want to talk about. I mean, you can talk about business development strategies, for multiple different types of businesses, and you can really get down and dirty into the details. And I want to stay away from that because it's got to be more applicable in a general sense. So I'm going to focus on sort of two high-level ideas of what business development means to me, and it's two things. One is developing your brand and growing your brand, and the other is obviously developing and growing your revenue. So I'm going to talk about some strategies and some situations that we had at Armorize and after we got acquired by Proofpoint that really helped us. The first, I would say, in terms of developing your brand, where your brand comes from is really about your culture, your company culture, right? The type of people that you hire, the type of people that you want to be in, again, the type of problems that you want to solve. So you have to have a very good focus on that. And more than that, you have to be what you're trying to sell, right? The fact is that nobody's interested in your technology. They're really not interested in how smart you are. They're even not interested in your product, right? They're interested in the problem that they need to solve or the need that they need to fulfill. So they don't buy your technology, they don't buy your product, they buy you, essentially. So you have to be what you're trying to sell. And that has to come from your culture. I'll give you an example. At Armorize Technologies, our CEO, Wayne, a couple of years in, he said, one day he said, right, that's it, everybody has to pass the CEH qualification, the Certified Ethical Hacker qualification. He said, we're a cybersecurity company, and you're going out there trying to sell this product, but you have to know the problems that our customers are facing. The CEH is a very difficult, very technical qualification, and I had a bit of a heart attack when I said, I have to do this. You have to do it. Anybody who doesn't do it is out the company, right? And the whole company, everybody, actually went through, studied really hard, and got this the Certified Ethical Hacker qualification. But it affected our ability to really communicate with our customers, right? I remember sitting at one of the big Hollywood studios and having a discussion with their Chief Information Security Officer about what a race condition was and how our technology was able to help them find race conditions in their software. And he looked at me and he said, okay, the salesperson knows what a race condition is. That's impressive. I think we're going to buy your stuff. So in terms of being your product, being what you are, you have to develop and generate the right culture, right? And you have to get everybody involved with your mission and your vision. So to give you examples, if you're a cryptocurrency exchange, everybody in your company should be trading cryptocurrencies. They should be involved with this. They should know the basic fundamentals at least. If you're a gaming company, everybody in your company should be gaming. They should be familiar with the types of joys and adventure, sense of adventure that gaming gives your users. They have to be able to connect with your customers. So that's a very important thing. It is developing that culture of being what you sell. You are what your customers buy, not your technology, not your product. The second thing is that you have to be the best at it. You have to generate some kind of leadership in the industry. And this is really about reaching out to the community around the world, people that are in your industry, people that are suffering and struggling with problems. And you have to let them know that you are the best at this, right? And you have to develop and generate a sense of leadership so that you can be trusted. We were in the cybersecurity industry. It is an industry that requires a lot of trust. We were dealing with banks, we were dealing with governments, all kinds of privacy issues, lots of dollars at stake. And we were coming from Taiwan. I remember dealing with customers in Europe. They said, well, we can never trust a Chinese company. I said, well, we're not a Chinese company, right? We're a Taiwanese company. There's a big difference, right? So we had to go through all of that, and we had to educate our customers about who we were, what it was that we're doing, and that we were the best. And so we invested a lot of time and energy into researching the types of problems that we were solving. Hackers were breaking into websites around the world, injecting malicious code into the website so that any user would connect to their website, their PC would get infected, right? We were tracking all of these groups, and we wrote blogs, and we put the message out there. Every new discovery that we made, every new hacking technique, every new approach to breaking into different systems, we wrote blogs about it. And this really helped us generate a sense of leadership in the industry. We constantly went to trade shows and conferences where we would deliver talks about what are the latest hacking approaches, what are the latest tools that folks are using out there. we were never talking about a product. We were never talking about our solutions, right? We were talking about the problems that people were trying to solve. And we established ourselves as leaders. So we did a lot of work in generating that brand image of ourselves. And we went out and we told everyone, as I said, we wrote blogs, we made videos, we went to conferences, and these are all things that you should be doing around the world if you want people to get the message. And funnily enough, that, as I said, as I've shown you here, is kind of a circle that feeds into itself. All of these activities actually helps grow and strengthen your brand. We had people from the States, from Europe, coming to us saying, I've read your blog, I want to work for you. How can I get to Taiwan and come and work for you? It's an extremely important thing, not only to generate the type of legitimacy for our customers, that we know what we're talking about, but actually people that were interested in the problem wanted to come and work for us. We hired a lot of amazing talent that actually found us because of the type of research and the type of information that we were putting out there. So in terms of growing your brand, these are the things that I think are very important if you want to be recognized outside of Taiwan, out in the world. Be what you are trying to sell. Right? You have to be the embodiment of that solution. Okay, the second thing is obviously growing your revenue. Now, how do you do that? That is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you're from a place like Taiwan, which is quite far away from markets like Europe and the US and so on. As I said, we spent a lot of time and effort developing markets in Japan, South Korea, India, Southeast Asia, and it took us a long time. We made a lot of mistakes. I would say that one of the things that we really didn't focus on in the beginning was who was our target market, who were they and where were they? We wanted to develop and expand our markets. Of course, we started in Taiwan. We had a couple of local telecoms using our stuff, local banks and things like that. It was the easiest places to reach out. And then we thought, okay, well, just naturally we'll go to Japan and we'll go to South Korea. And actually, we did have some successes there, but it was a mistake, I think, for us. We were a cybersecurity firm. The big dollars, the big budgets, the big companies were in the States, and we should have focused on that from day one. But it took us a long time to get to the point where we felt we were ready to go to the States. We thought it's easier just to go to Japan, it's easier to go to South Korea. Actually, it wasn't. Because the culture in Japan is so much different, the culture in South Korea is so much different, the culture in India is so much different, right? So we had some relative successes in these markets, but it ended up costing us a lot more in terms of time and effort. But we felt, well, it's close, it's easy, right? And we felt we're not ready for the US. But in the end, we made it out to the US, and as I said, we were very, very successful in getting big companies like Amazon, like Fox, and so on, using our stuff. The second very important thing is to figure out your product market fit, by PMF. I put it out here. And there's really only one way you can do that, and that's to constantly engage the market. Constantly go back to your customers that you do have. Understand what are their problems. Understand where your product is fulfilling their needs or not fulfilling their needs. Go out into the community and understand, are there potentially alternative uses for your technology, alternative uses for your solutions? That's exactly what happened to us. We had a solution called Hackalert, which would essentially constantly scan your website and tell you if somebody had injected malicious code into your site and was infecting anybody that visited your website. We sold that to our first customer for that was Bank of India, right? It was a very, very small deal, and it required a lot of re-engineering because originally it was just an endpoint product, like an antivirus. So we had to change everything and build this website scanning thing in the cloud. That was then the direction for our business, and we managed to sign on GMO hosting in Japan, and we scanned all of their customers' websites. And then we signed on with VeriSign, who was selling SSL certificates, and we scanned all of their customers' websites. That was a big deal for us. It ended up being worth about $2 million. But we were in the wrong business, because that was the application security business, which is about an $8 billion a year, $2 billion a year business or industry. And it took us some time to to meet Proofpoint and figure out there was a much, much bigger web security business or industry that is worth about $80 billion. And Proofpoint was an email security gateway, and they said, well, we're getting, all of our customers are getting these emails with these links to these malicious sites. So don't worry about scanning the malicious sites of the people that own the website. They're going to pay, what, $2 a pop, $5 a pop at most. Rather, come and help us scan these links that are coming into our customers who are, 9 of the top 10 US banks, 56 of the Fortune 100, right? That's where the money was. And so we integrated our technology with Proofpoint, and we scanned all of their customers' solutions. So when we joined Proofpoint, they were essentially an anti-spam provider. We integrated this technology. We got shares at, I think, $18 a share. And over the next 5 years, we grew that company to about $120 a share, just through one tiny change in the application of our technology. So we were lucky to figure out that lateral movement. And so when I say product market fit, you need to have your eyes open and you have to be engaged with the industry and with the community so that you can hear what are the real problems, right? And see, oh, actually, that's a huge problem that we can solve. We just need to make some minor changes to our technology. And so that comes to the point of partners and integration. I think especially for enterprise sales, for B2C or B2B companies, it's a huge part of business development. Finding the right partners and finding people that you can work with is very difficult, especially when you go into different countries. The cultures are different, the language is different. It's a huge bridge that you have to get. So what's very important is that you have to find and work with people who share your values. People that are trying to solve the same kinds of problem as you, those are the people that you're going to be most successful integrating with. Like I mentioned, we found Symantec as a potential partner. They were selling SSL certificates, a certificate saying that all the data between the browser and the server has been encrypted and it's secure. But all of their customers were getting hacked and having malicious code injected into their websites that would install keyloggers that would capture all your data before the browser could encrypt it, right? So there was a perfect fit. It was the same type of problem, the same issue that we were trying to solve. And we ended up having a very, very long relationship with Symantec, even after we sold the company to Proofpoint. So I think in that respect, focusing on finding the right people, the right partners, and for the right markets is very difficult, but very important. We, in Japan and in the US, we work with other technology providers where we can integrate our technology. Because those markets are so vast and so huge that if you try to hit customers one by one, it's really, really hard. You have to grow a very big sales team, a sales team that's local, that understands the local industry. In India, we work with distributors who are doing exactly that on our behalf. And we never quite had the same success. In South Korea, we never quite had the same success. In Europe, we never had quite the same success. But in Japan and in the US, where we worked with other big players in the market, it was extremely successful for us. Lastly, I think the most important thing is just to show up. You have to consistently show up and be there and be present. If the industry is having some kind of event, some kind of conference, you have to be there. You have to submit your talks. You have to let people know what are the problems that you're solving and why you're the best, why you're so good at it. That is something that you constantly have to put out there to grow your brand, to grow your revenue. And it can be extremely difficult at first, but if you can do that, you gain a lot of traction and you gain a lot of legitimacy for the types of problems that you're trying to solve. I went from being, a salesperson with a background in economics to giving very technical talks at RSA, the most technical hacker conference in the world, just through going through this whole process. And thanks to Wayne having the type of leadership that he did, he just drove us all in that direction, and it proved to be very successful for us. One final note before I go is I think in terms of this conversation, I just want to say that I think that the Taiwanese government has done an amazing job of doing everything that I've just discussed with the whole Taiwan Can Help movement. And I think there is a great opportunity for Taiwanese companies today to really go out and improve their brand and improve their legitimacy and build the kind of connections with companies around the world under this COVID-19 situation. We don't feel it in Taiwan because we have the freedom to move around. We can go where we want. We can, continue to go to the office. But people and companies around the world are suffering and struggling. People cannot go to work. They cannot get their supply lines fixed. They cannot do so many things that they need help with. And I think right now the fact that we can still work and that we can still get things done is a perfect opportunity for Taiwanese companies to reach out to these companies in the States, in Canada, in Europe, and say, well, how can we help? What can we do for you? Right? If I had a B2C company right now, I'd be buying face masks, printing my logo on that face mask, and donating it to my customers, right? Because when they do eventually get back to the office, they're going to be wearing those masks and my logo is going to be right in their face, right? So it's things like this that you can think about that help develop your brand, help develop the awareness of your brand, of your company in the top of your customer's mind. I think that's a great opportunity right now, and kudos to the Taiwanese government for everything they've done. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.